Well, hello my friends. Welcome back to my shop. This is Alfurtado, the Remounting. Yesterday was Father's Day, and I gotta tell you, it was quite an adventure in the shed. Show you what I had mounted up yesterday, and I might post a little bit of this mishap, and it's unfortunate because I think it's the best looking piece I have done to date. I am so disappointed with it, but I don't know if I can literally continue doing this piece. So today's video is not going to be about this piece, but something maybe similar. Now I got this piece over here. It's the same type of wood. Will probably have some of the same character as what I just turned. But the problem that I got is mounting this one, because of the angle that I got going in here. I know what I want. I want to establish this as kind of the center point and turn it around and see what comes up out of it. So I'm going to see if I can possibly mount it the way it is. Now you always see me putting my worm screw inside my chuck, but I do that basically because I don't feel like taking it off when it does the same way. It does the same thing as this does by putting it in. That looks about where I want to be. Now the question is, can my life center fit in here somewhere and hold this together while I turn it? And I don't want to take away from it because it's part of its character that I want to capture. Now this is way too heavy on this bottom side, mounting it this way. So I'm going to lighten it up by taking a little bit of a chunk of wood out of this in the bandsaw. Now that's a little iffy, so I'm not going to go too fast with this. I'll go fairly slow, and this should pose something interesting on the vase with a void going through here and the mouthpiece really playing into here all the way down to here. I don't know how far up I will catch. That will be determined on the shape that I give it over here at the end, but I think that I will just round it off and keep somewhat of a tapered down vase until it starts capturing. First thing, like normal, like usual, is I'm going to create a tenon on the back so I can, as quickly as I can, and use my life center on my steady rest on this. So set up my tool rest in the back section of it, because really that's what I need to do. Now this tenon is going to be a little tough to grip as well because it's side grain, and side grain doesn't give you the best possible tenon that you can make. So the bark will disappear. I might have a little bit of bark showing up on this edge, playing in with what's happening up here. I am sure that I can create something that looks really nice. The question is, can I keep it mounted? So with that big question already in mind, one thing I have to do is make sure that I go slow enough during this turning. So I think it's time to get started. Go in here nice and easy. Speed, we'll start it off at 300 RPM and see what that does. If it's going okay, then I might speed it up a little bit, but I think that 300 RPM is probably pushing my boundaries on this a little bit. My wife comes in here and cleans up my shop. Every once in a while she puts my tools away, but she never puts them in the order that I like keeping them. They are generally in different locations. Alright, I'm going to start using the roughing gouge a little bit on this. I don't know, I will see how it acts, but the roughing gouge, pretty much I'm going to be blunting into this. And if I use my Hurricane 5/8, I can probably go in here and do a little bit easier and not so much beating on edge like that. I will do a push cut towards the bottom from out here where I can probably sneak it in a little bit better. There we go. Now, I'm in the front of the lathe, but running at 300 RPM, I am not worried about this coming flying off, because it doesn't fly off, it just falls off. So of course, the knuckles, the hands, you know, those are always areas of caution, but not my face per se. So it will take me a little while before I get to the bottom of this. Now this is definitely not a beginner's guide. This one is more showing off what you can do with an Oddest piece of wood. And like I've said many times, the uglier the piece, the more beauty it is at the end. And it doesn't get much uglier than this. Now, I've also said many times, the reason why I turn what I turn, most of the time, it's because my lathe can go slow enough to turn what I turn safely. If I couldn't do that, I would not be tackling such things. And I apologize if your lathe doesn't do this, and I'm showing you something that's outside of your realm of what, you know, of what you can do. But if you are in a position that you do have a lathe that you can slow it way down, well, you know, this is one way of looking at a piece of wood that is very hard to envision on what you could possibly do with it. This is definitely it. I'm going to use a carbide square cutter to get to the bottom of that. This is what happens when it falls off at that speed. It just falls. Bottom line. Well, I got a 10 in there that at least I can grip it. And I will run it the same way in between centers and see exactly what I can do with it. There I go. Now I can work a lot more comfortable. Speed up the lathe a little bit. Still not fast per se, but speed it up a little bit where I can start getting some cuts on this. But still not gonna go too fast. Maybe 600 RPM. That's 580 RPMs. I'm going to sharpen up the tool. It really needs it. I'll be coming way up here to this tip on this, and I will see where it ends up here. It might end up flat over here. I am not sure. It's not really what I was looking for. I could offset it slightly, but that means that I would not be able to grip the life center anywhere in here, I don't think. The vase will end up a little bit slimmer than I wanted. And I will play, and I will see if I can maintain a little bit of these flat areas. Now, because I'm going a little bit faster, put my face shield on. I'm almost there with what I wanted to achieve. This branch right here, I don't think it will play any part, but the inside of it still has bark separating the two. So that part might be part of the design, plus this void that you see going through here. Now, another option I could look at this would be to start forming this in and making this to be somewhat of a hollow vessel. But this part over here I think would play a little bit too much of what I would want it to do. So in this case I would much rather see it as like an open flower than a hollow vessel with just capturing this neck area and then a void maybe underneath it, or this void going all the way through off from the neck. Not to say that it would look bad, it would give it quite a slant on this bark area, a little V over here plus this going in. So before committing to what I want, since the wood is showing me several options on what to do, I will take just a little bit, because either way I still got to take off a little bit more to eliminate this flat spot. But to help me with that, and seeing that I got such a good grip back here, I'm going to cheat this up a little bit by loosening it up and pulling this towards me slightly. And that way, when I'm taking away, I'll be taking off a little bit more on this, more than I do on that side. So this is the area that I want to come forward. So I will move it to what I think that it really needs. Now it will off balance the piece a little bit. Well, it helps if I keep it in there though. And the tenon is fairly short over here, so I don't have much room, but I got some room. Okay, that moved it off center over here about a ½ inch. So it's time to give it a good firm grip on this. Now I cannot run my left center on this anymore, so I might true up this tenon again to this shape before going any further. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that so I can grip it a little bit deeper. So rather than gamble, okay, you can see that I'm taking a lot more from this area, which I needed to advance a little bit. But I'm going, like I said, I'm going to, with the parting tool, just cut this tenon over here a little deeper and straight so I can go in with it straight. Slow it down a little bit, seeing that it's off axis. That's all I need. I need another ¼ inch and I can go up against this shoulder in the way that I got it here, and it will grip it better. Yeah, this will work fine. Alright, it doesn't reach So I will do what I can with a push cut. Because I don't want to catch this flat part of the bark. I want all the bark to be coming in a complete motion, but I'm not sure what will happen on this part right here. Once I start turning this will separate either way, and if I go too deep, then I'm not going to see bark over here. It's going to be an end cut. So I have to be careful on my decision. That over there, so literally this thing is asking for it to come in at the top, and this will be problematic for me. So decide on which way is the least offensive. If I leave this will be very offensive. So I will see what happens with this snap over here. Now I cannot get my steady rest exactly up here because this is going to be hit and miss, but I will see. It should assist me some. So I will try to place it just below that area, which, like I said, it's not much help, but any help on something like this is help. Okay, I'm there. This is already bark, so I really don't have to go any further except to clean this up and start going on the inside. of course, I want to go in here with a Forstner bit, and I got the same dilemma as far as hitting a center on this. I can't really go in there with my tool to establish anything, but in a reasonable way. But I will see what I can do. See if I can sneak it in there, a tool in there, just to give me somewhat of a center. I should be able to establish a little bit of a cut in there. Alright, that should give me the outside bite of the Forstner bit, and I should be able to go in there pretty well. And I want to bury this up to here. Now I'm hoping this holds because I got a big separation here. It's not a check, it's from its growth patterns, the way that this tree decided to grow up on the top of the old stump. So I'm going to put a little bit of CA in the areas that has some wood, but not going to fill it up with sawdust. I'll see if that plays naturally through the piece. But the CA should hold it from splitting further. That's at least my hopes. Whatever fibers are in there that are making contact, it should hold up. Also going to saturate a little bit of the bark at this point because I want to keep that. I want the bark to be part of this whole piece. Well, I'm back. This had a few minutes to dry. Took care of something I needed to take care of. So it's time to go in here, and this one is really nerve-wracking because really what I wanted to do is go in here with some push cuts and start clearing some of this up. But this area right here, and amongst a couple of other areas, and the hit and miss is going to make this push cut probably impossible. So I'm going to attempt it just to start off with, but most likely I'm going to go with my hollowing tool. Actually, I gotta relieve some of this, so I will see if I can do a little bit of push cut in here. Bring the tool rest as close as I possibly can. And see what I can do. Nice easy cuts though. Now on this is a complicated cut, but it's pretty much the same technique that I was showing on the end grain cut, and I am following with the edge of my flute, the back edge, following up the same angle that I'm looking at and looking in my vase. That's where I'm going to, and trying to establish this edge. I wanted to take that off, but establish this edge already the thickness that I want, so I don't have to go back here. This will be way too flimsy to come and work at it again. So I am following it and going towards the middle where I got a relief for all of this to go to. Nerve-wracking, but doable. Just relieving a little bit in the center. Getting a little bit of the wood out of my way. But here's the bevel of what I want. Go, when it starts hitting, pull it out towards the center. You always got to do relief cuts. Even though there's no wood over there, it's hit and miss. But the treatment is pretty much the same. As you start reaching deeper and deeper, the back of your tool, and me reaching over the lathe bed, it's almost impossible for me to do that with a traditional tool. So I'm going to set up my hollowing tool so I can get in there. And when I'm using this, I try to be pretty close to center on here. And all I need the tool rest is to rest on this solid bar over here, not necessarily on this. Nice easy cuts though. I no longer have that guide to direct me in the direction that I'm going. This cutter is pretty aggressive, so I have to be careful, and I do have this big void going through here, so it's very easy for this to blow away. I think that looks pretty good. Sanding, I'm gonna get the outside edges, but I'm gonna be limited on what I can do on the inside. You know, I've done lots of vases. I've done as many vases as Mike Walt probably has done goblets. For a while there, that was really the majority of my turnings. And I like doing vases as well. And I like doing vases that capture the natural edge from the outside growth of the tree. When it poses a lot of dips. Now, I haven't done many vases from a log per se, like this one. This was cut from the edge of a very strange looking log, and I wasn't really sure what this one was going to possess. So I kind of let the wood dictate most of it, and with just a little bit of my persuasion. But I think I think it's an awesome vase. Now, I could not establish a gloss of any kind on this. I could not buff it because it's all broken up all the way down to here. Not broken up, but the character of the wood. So to buff it, that would be a definitely no-no. So basically I just hand rubbed the OB Shine Juice on it. I could do a rub-on urethane, or I could spray it with a satin Latin finish. Don't have any right now, but that's what I'm going to end up applying to this piece. I think it's a nice piece. This opening going all the way through here, and then this huge valley going down to this area posed quite a bit of a problem with reaching in. But when you're spinning, and this one I spun it mostly around 600 RPMs. I might have hit 700 for a little bit to clean up some of the cuts, but really I maintained a fairly slow speed so I could both keep the bark and keep this from blowing out. As you can see, this half right here is a lot heavier than this half. So therefore the piece would always wobble. It doesn't matter how true you turn it, there will always be concentric force pushing this piece up. So if you have a super heavy lathe that you don't feel that shake at all, could be a drawback to you because you might not be aware of this force wanting to pull this out away a lot more than I do. My lathe is a little bit on the sensitive side, so when it's got a little bit of off balance, I will feel it. And that's a good indication. Stay running slow. If it's running super smooth, you might assume that it's okay to go 1000 RPMs or 1200 RPMs with something like this. Devastating. This thing would have blown up, and when at those speeds, you know, it doesn't warn you as to where it's gonna go. The hollowing, the only way that I could possibly get in there deep enough was with my hollowing tool. So it was a tool that I made up that has definitely been worthy in the shop. I've used it a few times. It's a great tool. Hey, if you haven't seen my video on the hollowing, deep hollowing arm, go take a look at it. It's not all that hard to make. If you have a full-size lathe, I think it's as important to have as a steady wrist. The difference is night and day, because you'll go from not being able to turn to being able to turn. And that's what it's all about, is being able to go to the lathe and turn what you see and what you envision, and you do whatever you need to. And I don't mean go out and buy it. If you want to buy it, if you can afford it, and if it's something that you feel you're going to use enough, they're for sale. They're available where you can purchase, and I'm sure they're probably better than mine's. But they both serve the same purpose. Whether if you make it your own, which I myself like doing because I get a certain amount of satisfaction of making a tool and using it up and knowing that it serves the purpose that I designed it for. Enough again. Anyway, it's a bottle brush vase. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Maybe I'll make an easy one and a follow-up of an end grain for the one that I just posted up. End grain made easy. I knew that bowl that I made during that turning was nothing great, but I knew that I had offered a lot of information. I guess I was in a mood to really show what it was, what it takes to be able to do end grain turning. And that's how I approached that. Was basically I just went and gave my insight, and apparently it's helping a lot of newbie wood turners, and I think some of the seasoned wood turners can take a little bit from that one.
Thanks again. We'll see you soon.